Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled. From morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, and that means all of the Smexy books, the new arrivals, come out on Kindle Unlimited. You're welcome, just in case you forgot. Thank you, Marissa, for showing up. Wolfram for doing the Modly Mod stuff. Let's see here. Fraudit Terminator, Alice G, welcome, welcome. And as I pinned on the top of my chat, if you would like to send in your submission for Lord Chippy, the anthropomorphic wood chipper giving the middle finger is giving me blocks of wood, like honest to God, with an outboard Evinrude motor. So I am not the world's most technical person, so submit all of your, Lord Chippy, designs, and we will get that stinger made because it's current news day. It's current year, and we need a Lord Chippy stinger. I will have to get with Captain Kern, Tammy. That's a good idea. I tried it for myself yesterday, and oh my gosh, you would think that Chat GPT or AI creator magic would understand what I'm trying to make, but this seems to be confusing them. And thanks, Alice G. I love that I have all the wigs and I can do all the fun My Little Pony hair and not damage my current hair. We do have an update from stories from yesterday morning, and we do now know the cause of death for Comicstorian YouTuber Ben Potter. So let's see if we can pull that up. The cause of death for YouTube star Ben Potter, known as Comicstorian, who died in an unfortunate accident over the weekend, was revealed Tuesday, according to a report. Potter, aged 40, was driving his Toyota 4Runner on I-25 near Fort Collins Saturday at 9:19 a.m. when he went off the right shoulder and veered into a service road, rolling several times, the Colorado State Patrol told the Denver Post. He was the truck's only occupant and no other vehicles were involved in the crash. Oh, you are totally fine, and that sounds like one I'll have to add to my walk, playlist. The beloved internet personality who had so this is kind of more of what we knew yesterday, but I did see this story pop up. So it looks like he maybe lost control, overcorrected, and unfortunately, sometimes these things just happen. So sadly, we do know now that it was yes, Captain Kern, if possible, I am putting a, flare up, not for anything important, but if anyone would like to submit their AI, or real life digital rendering of Lord Chippy, that would be great because right now, what I'm getting when I put sort of different prompts into Bing Image Creator is a block of wood with an outboard motor for some reason. So it is one of those things. I am admitting defeat. I would like to get a Lord Chippy stinger, but I generally tend to have a hate-hate relationship with, technology. So that is a bit of an update on that. Thank you so much, Captain Kern. I figured I would use my lovely, lovely internet, people and resources to try to figure that one out. In other news, a skeleton was unearthed at a New York construction site, sparking a mystery for investigators. Now, hopefully, whoever they found, they can give some peace and comfort to the family, knowing what was, or, knowing where this person is now, hopefully. And Wolfram is absolutely right. If you are able to, if you can help Captain Kern, his house was caught up in some of the big storms that we've been having lately. You know, Also support and prayers are also really good and really helpful. If you can't donate, I have been grocery shopping, I understand. Construction workers at a Island apartment complex dug up a bone chilling discovery: human skeletal remains. The grim find Monday in Woodbury's Eagle Rock Apartments is under investigation by Nassau County cops. Uh, the complex's management told News 12 that the remains were clearly over 100 years old, but a representative contacted by the Post would not confirm the earlier statement. So, if you live near the Eagle Rock Apartments, this is in New York, Jess Rubery. No comment, the representative said. Cops learned about the remains through a 911 call about 4 p.m., detectives said. They responded to a construction site at 49 Fairhaven Boulevard and saw skeletal remains while they dug in the ground, cops said. A medical examiner removed the bones for further investigation, officials said. So hopefully, they can give these remains a proper burial after they figure out what is going on here. You know, Probably, and or that could explain why you guys are haunted and the internet never works in those apartments, allegedly. I am not a ghostbuster, so that's all I can say as far as, my professional opinion. Sadly, Jimmy Carter looks like he is not long for this world. While I didn't agree with his politics in while he was in president and wasn't alive, so I can Monday quarterback this, you know, from way off hindsight. He was a really good guy who, after he left the presidency, worked for Habitat for Humanity and generally didn't, stick his nose into things a lot, like some other people. And, he was a good humanitarian, or is a good humanitarian, so I hope that he has very peaceful final time on this earth and then goes to be with his wife who predeceased him. Jimmy Carter, 99, is no longer awake every day. Grandson says he's experiencing the world as best as he can. In an exclusive interview with Southern Living, Jason Carter gave an update on his grandfather's health more than 16 months into hospice care. Jimmy Carter's life isn't how it once was, according to his grandson Jason Carter, but the former president's loved ones haven't stopped spending time with their 99-year-old patriarch. In an exclusive conversation with Southern Living, Jason opened up about the Carter's family's experience caring for Jimmy 16 months into hospice care and why the one time commander in chief chose Plains, Georgia to spend his final days. According to Jason, there has really been no change in Jimmy's health in the recent months, but his baseline is much different in comparison to the active ex president, who the public saw building homes and teaching Sunday school well into his 90s. Since his once inseparable wife, Rosalind Carter, died in November at the age of 96, a piece of Jimmy has been missing. Absolutely, and I couldn't imagine the loss of, your wife. I mean, there are some advantage to being wealthy. I am sorry, H. Fred. I wish there were words that could, you know, take that pain away, and it sucks that there aren't. So I hope you are getting through as much as you can and can remember some good things, because that's the hard part about grief is sometimes you can't remember all the good things, you know, as easy because you're hurting so much you miss the person. Uh, After 77 years of marriage, I just think none of us really understand what it's like for him now, Jason told Southern Living in their early June conversation. We have to embrace that fact that there's things about the spirit you just can't understand. Totally agree. Jason, 48, told the outlet that Jimmy is no longer awake every day at this point in his hospice journey, and when the 39th president's four children make their frequent visits, they can't predict the state their father will be in. He's experiencing the world as best as he can as he continues through this process, Jason said. In February 2023, Jimmy chose to begin hospice care in the same Plains home that he and Rosalind built in 1961. He has stayed largely out of public view since terminating medical intervention, with the exception of attending Rosalind's memorial events. Plains residents showed up in force to send off their favorite First Lady in November, and the Baptist church where Jimmy taught Sunday school until 2020, he had a chance to reconnect with the community after an extended period away. Plains is the place that gave has given him the greatest support, and it's the only place he would go through this part of his life. Jason, who lives in Atlanta, said of his grandfather, "That's his home in every way, and he really cherished that time and support." It's so odd to see him so young in this picture. I mean, I know old age happens to the best of us, so, absolutely. Mr. Mo is my calm that, keeps me from needing bail money as well. Rosalind was buried near the couple's Plains residence after her funeral service, and when Jimmy dies, he'll be buried right alongside her. I think the fact that he and my grandmother both came from that small town, it's a 600-person village, really, and it's not near any interstate. It's just truly out in the country, and it's a fundamental part of who he is and who he's been for his whole life, Jason says. There's no other place in the world that he would rather be than in Plains. The Carters deeded their property to the National Park Service, which has plans to turn their humble home into a museum. It's such an American story to go to Plains and see the house that my grandparents built and lived in for all their time and came home to after being president. He said it's really an incredible story to go from that little town to a White House and back again. So, Mr. Carter, President Carter, I hope you have a peaceful and family-filled last, part of your life, and then you get to be with your wife in heaven. In another blast from the past, Pamela Smart is now accepting responsibility for her husband's 1990 killing for the first time. Now, if you weren't maybe into true crime, like it's your job, like me, Pamela Smart was a young, attractive teacher who, I guess, pre-Mary Kay Letourneau, several boys in her mixed media class to basically unalive her husband. Now, it's unclear as to, who was the initial spark for this, husband must go kind of thing. But she definitely was a catalyst, and it looks like she is finally taking responsibility for this instead of, foisting it off on the teenage boys that are, well, one teenage boy that she tried to seduce and her entire mixed media class, like, club that she seemed to kind of rope into this series of shenanigans that ended up with her ex or her husband becoming her late husband. Pamela Smart, who is serving life in prison for plotting with her teenage student to have her husband unalived in 1990, accepted full responsibility for his death for the first time in a videotaped statement. Let's see here. Released Tuesday as part of her latest sentence reduction request. Smart, 56, was a 22-year-old high school media coordinator when she began an affair with a 15-year-old boy who later fatally shot her husband, Gregory Smart, in Derry, New Hampshire. Now, I think that we can possibly, go with it. I know it's Derry, Maine, but, maybe it is also geography, like, not quite there. It's also spelled differently, but that's the theory I'm going with. We all float down here, and that's how all of this started. Darn you, Stephen King. The shooter was freed in 2015 after serving a 25-year sentence. Though Pamela Smart denied knowledge of the plot, she was convicted of being an accomplice to first-degree murder and other crimes and sentenced to life without parole. Smart has been incarcerated for nearly 34 years. In the videotaped statement, she said she began to dig deeper into my own responsibility through her experience in a writing group that encouraged us to go beyond into spaces we didn't want to be in. For me, that was really hard because going into those spaces where I found myself responsible for something I desperately didn't want to be responsible for, my husband's murder, she said, her voice quavering. I had to acknowledge for the first time in my own mind and my own heart how responsible I was because I had deflected blame all the time. I think almost as if it was a coping mechanism because the truth of being responsible was so very difficult for me. She asked to have an honest conversation with New Hampshire's 5-member executive council, which approves state contracts and appointees to the court and state agencies. And with Governor Chris Sununu, Smart has exhausted all of her legal judicial appeal options and has to go through the council for a sentence change. The council rejected her latest request, her third, in 2022, and Smart appealed to the state Supreme Court, which dismissed her petition last year. So, I mean, there could be a possibility that this could work. I think a lot of places want you to take responsibility, but I think this was I don't know how you can't wrap your head around things, but I can also understand it not being able to deal with feelings and putting them away for 17 years. Ask me how I know. Uh, Val Freyet, a cousin of Gregory Smart, told the Associated Press on Tuesday that Smart danced around it and fully accepted responsibility without admitting the facts around what made her fully responsible. Freyet noted that Smart didn't mention her cousin's name in the video, not even once. Messages seeking comment on the petition and statement were sent to council members Sununu and the Attorney General's office. New Hampshire's process for commutation or pardon requests is fair and thorough, Sununu's office said in a statement. Pamela Smart will be given the same opportunity to petition the council for a hearing as any other individual. I'll look into it. It's not on my radar screen as of yet, Counselor Joseph Kennedy, or sorry, not Kennedy, Kenny, responded in an email. Smart is serving time at Belford Hills Correctional Facility in Winchester County, New York. She has earned a doctorate in ministry and 3 master's degrees behind bars. She has also tutored fellow inmates, been ordained as a minister, and been part of Inmate Liaison Committee. It is June, so why did I almost read that as Inmate Lesbian Committee? Sorry. She says she is remorseful and has been rehabilitated. I made excuses, dismissed my own involvement, and blamed everyone else but myself, Smart wrote in her letter to Sununu. Because she wasn't there the night of the murder and didn't pull the trigger, she thought she wasn't responsible, saying she became comfortable in her warped logic. She added, I'm the one to blame for his absence from the world. Smart's longtime lawyer, Mark Sitzi, said the petition was filed last week. We're trying to impress upon the governor and council we believe this is the time for them to actually listen to her, he said. If they have any questions, she's more than happy to answer any of the questions that they may have. Nearly 30 letters of support, many from people in the correction system, were included in her petition. She is the true definition of a rehabilitated, improved, and refined human being, Edward Gibbs, a member of the York State Assembly, wrote in his letter dated March 14th. The trial was a media circus and one of America's first high-profile cases about a gross abuse between school staff member and student. I edited that for you, Yahoo, no worries. Yeah, I would love to cover this case. It was so it was around the time that 7.5 Weeks came out, and I've never actually watched that movie, mostly because, well, my mom said I couldn't, and, you know, then we got Cinemax, and who needs to watch 7.5 Weeks? No, I'm just kidding, we didn't get Cinemax, we got HBO, and then we tried to do that fuzzy line thing because we maybe had bragged to the other kids in Catholic school, like, "No, we totally have Cinemax." Look, I was not the most popular middle schooler. That detour from into Tangent Lane, this was a media circus from what I have seen of the case. It was in 1992. So, the trial was a media circus, and one of America's okay, Joyce Maynard wrote To Die For in 1992, drawing from the Smart case that inspired a 1995 film of the same name, starring Nicole Kidman and Joaquin Phoenix. The killer, William Flynn, and 3 other teens cooperated with prosecutors. They have all since been released. Flynn testified that Smart told him she needed her husband unalived because she feared she would lose everything if they divorced. He said she threatened to break up with him if he didn't unalive Gregory Smart. Good morning, audio coffee. Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about this one. I think that if the committee gives her a chance, I think she really needs to be very clear in taking responsibility. She does seem like she's done an awful lot of postgraduate work on herself at our expense. So, maybe she can help me with term papers or something. I don't know. And why in the heck would you put that tattoo on your neck? Because it looks really quite unkosher. Suspects filmed themselves while using an excavator to bury a barrel containing the man they unalived with a hammer. Now, I know I've said this before, but we don't film our crimes. Eh, they look okay in orange. I say we give up on all criminals. 2 men and a woman have all been arrested, accused of unaliving a Texas man, allegedly bludgeoning him to death with a hammer before stuffing his body into a barrel and filming themselves while they use construction equipment to bury it. I mean, for the love of all that is holy. Jesus Gravalla Jr., 43, Samuel Uvalde Sr., 47, Monica Gomez, 41, had all been taken into custody last month and charged with murder in connection to the the brutal slaying of Juan Carlos Hernandez de Leon, authorities announced. A fourth suspect, Roberto Salas, 35, has been on the run for weeks and remains at large. According to a news release from Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, deputies on May 13th were informed about a possible homicide that took place in San Juan, Texas. A witness told investigators that an adult male who had been reported missing earlier in the month, later identified as Hernandez de Leon, had been unalived at a residence on Morningside Road. The residence is about 240 miles south of San Antonio. Additionally, witnesses told investigators that the victim's body had been moved to another location near Wisconsin Rose in Edinburgh, Texas, a few miles northwest of the site of the alleged murder. Initially, investigators said that they had identified Gravalia Jr., Uvalde Sr., and Salias as being responsible for Hernandez de Leon's murder. However, through witness testimony and cell phone video obtained by one of the suspects, just for the love of all there that is insanity, don't film your crimes. I mean, to be fair, if I got to work a backhoe, I would totally film myself working a backhoe, but not for criminal reasons, just why would anyone let me operate heavy machinery reasons? According to a probable cause affidavit obtained by Brownsville NBC and CBS affiliate KVEO, witnesses told investigators that all of these dinguses, about 3 a.m. on May 7th, went to Gravalia Jr.'s home on Morningside Road and argued with the decedent. Authorities said that at some point the argument escalated into a hammering. Y'all, you are just Snake Island residents now. I mean, I know Tim Pool had this whole thought, and I'm beginning to go on that side where we just, if you want to be a violent criminal, we send you on to like a deserted island. You have to switch to survival mode. You get to build your own shelter. We're not going to, spend all of this money housing you in prison. We just send all of you out hunger style wise. I'm pretty sure that's illegal for the Constitution, but I'm okay with it. So they started to assault the victim with a hammer, the affidavit says, according to a report from the Monitor newspaper. Robert Salias, Jesus Gravalia Jr., and Samuel Avalde all joined in on the assault. Uh, they don't really give a reason. The three male suspects then allegedly stuffed his body into a barrel, loaded it onto a truck, and transported the barrel to a property in Edinburgh. There, the suspects allegedly used an excavator to dig a hole and bury the barrel containing Hernandez de Leon's remains in that hole. Investigators reportedly said that they searched Gravalia's cell phone and obtained video footage showing Gomez helping him use the excavator. A fifth suspect, Alejandro Cantu, 28, was also arrested in connection with the murder. Detectives say they learned Cantu picked up the excavator used to bury this victim and that Cantu knew there was a body inside the barrel. He is charged with one count of tampering with physical evidence and intent to impair a human corpse. He is currently being held on a cash surety bond of $1 million. Gomez is currently being held on a bond of $4.3 million, while Uvalde Sr. and Gravalia are both being held on bonds of $5 million. I am sure that Dog the Bounty Hunter, wherever he is, will be there to help them out. Just so authorities did emphasize that the investigation is still going forward. They have no idea what is. I do believe you can rent heavy equipment. I do think you have to have a license, but I'm not quite sure about that. And hey, it's Texas. You might just be able to rent, any daggone thing you want, no questions asked. In another blast from the past, crime-wise, it is the anniversary of J.C. Duggard's kidnapping And where are she and her daughters now? I mean, this is a terribly sad case. When JC Duggard was 11 years old on June 10th, 1991, she was abducted on her way to school in South Lake Tahoe, California. 18 years passed before she was discovered and reconnected with her family. She was taken by Philip and Nancy Garrigo. See if they've got more pictures. Who kept her outside in their backyard filled with tents and sheds. I just wanted to go home, she said during her testimony per the New York Times. I kept telling them, I don't know why you're doing this. If you're holding me for ransom, my family doesn't have a lot of money. During her years in captivity, she was repeatedly assaulted by Philip and was impregnated twice to give birth to his two daughters. Duggard was found in 2009 after she'd been held in captivity for 18 years. Her discovery came after Philip went to University of California, Berkeley campus seeking an event permit with his two daughters. After campus police found his behavior to be strange, they ran a background check on him, discovering he had previously been convicted of disgusting SA crimes, according to Crime Museum. His parole officer called him in for a meeting where Philip was accompanied by Nancy, his two daughters, and JC, who was going by the name Alyssa. It was after Philip admitted to kidnapping and assaulting JC that she revealed her true identity. After the story was released, there were theories that she developed Stockholm Syndrome during her captivity, a term that refers to forming an attachment to a captor, kidnapper, or abuser, according to Psychology Today. Duggar has pushed back on those theories and said the reason behind her sticking to her alias and refraining from attempting escape was for the safety of her daughters. Absolutely, I can get that. Good morning, Twisted Logic. Uh, I couldn't leave. I had the girls, she said in her testimony per the New York Times. JC has also strongly refuted that she ever had Stockholm Syndrome. It's degrading having my family believe that I was in love with this captor and wanting to stay with him, she told ABC News in a 2016 interview. I mean, that's so far from the truth, it makes me want to throw up. It's disgusting. I adapted to survive my circumstances. There's just no other way to put it. I mean, you are 12 years old. I think she was 13 when she had to birth her own or her first daughter by herself at home. So when you are dependent on these people for food, substance, or, shelter, such as it was, and now you are getting ready to have a child at a very young age after being assaulted, I mean, you do what you have to do to survive. The media is generally always wrong in these things. And of course, it's just, ugh. He was always my captor. I never forgot that. Never, she told the outlet. Philip and Nancy Garrido pled guilty in April 2011 to kidnapping, assault, false imprisonment, lewd conduct with a minor, and production of gross childhood images. They are currently serving out their prison sentences. Philip received a term of 431 years. I hope all of those are on top of a fire ant hill, being covered with honey. I don't know why we can't do this. I understand it's against like the Geneva Convention, but I think there should be exceptions. His wife, Nancy, was sentenced to 36 years to life in prison, according to the source. She is serving her time at the California Institution for Women in Chino, California, and eligible for parole in 2029. This woman should never get parole. She stole whatever child that JC was going to be. She basically unalived that child when she went with her husband's gross, disgusting plan. Duggard kept custody of her two daughters that she had while in captivity. Her first daughter was born in 1994 when she was 14. She then gave birth to a second daughter in 1997 when she was 17. That was the last time he assaulted me, was when she was conceived, Duggar said in her testimony. JC had previously stated that both of her daughters were attending college, but much about the entire family is kept private. In her book titled Freedom, My Book of First, she expressed pride for her daughters who they've grown up to be. However, she keeps her sharing to a minimum. Absolutely, I would too. Today, Duggar lives a private life with her daughters. Even though she and her family remain out of the public eye, she did release a book detailing her story in 2011 called A Stolen Life. In 2016, Duggar released Freedom, My Book of Firsts. Duggar is also the founder and president of the JC Foundation. Duggar was inspired to begin this organization after the traumatic experience she endured. The mission of this organization is to, quote, be of service to families and individuals who have experienced a severe crisis, challenge, or conflict through a major life disruption, and to spread a message of hope, growth, and resilience through education and animal assisted programs to encourage the collaboration of various entities to provide protected spaces for families to heal, according to its website. So, what an awesome thing that she has gone on to try to help other people, that she protected and, tried to educate and, that she and her daughters are finally getting to experience this wonderful, crazy, blessing and shenanigans filled life out of captivity, and that the two monsters that took her, you know, are rotting in prison forever, I hope. And oh my gosh, it does work. I can't believe it. I am here for it. But a kite surfer uses rocks to spell out help in sand to prompt a rescue on a California beach. I mean, hey, it works. Check one. When asked if, you know, if you are stuck on a desert island, always spell out help. A kite surfer was rescued on Sunday from a beach in the Bay Area after a private helicopter saw the surfer's plea, help, spelled out with rocks on the sand, according to CAL FIRE San Mateo, Santa Cruz unit. A video shared on X by CAL FIRE CZU, a kite surfer is seen being rescued off a beach south of Davenport Landing after becoming stranded. The surfer used rocks on the beach to spell out the word help, which was spotted from a private helicopter who then went to call for help. CAL FIRE shared video of the rescue showing the helicopter hoisting the kite surfer to safety. The department credited CAL FIRE's San Mateo and Santa Cruz units, a helicopter from the agency's Santa Clara unit, Santa Cruz County Fire, and California State Parks for all working together to complete the extraction. According to CAL FIRE officials, the beach is somewhat remote, access to the area is difficult, and tide was also coming in. Officials said the surfer did not need medical attention and only needed help getting off the beach. It's not clear how long the unidentified kite surfer was stranded on the beach before he was rescued. I mean, there you go. So, if you are ever shipped to Abu Dhabi like normal, spell out help. I don't know why you would go to Abu Dhabi, but in what's part of this simulation was Grand Theft Auto bus ride? Y'all, I did not have this on my bingo card for this year, but a maniac in Georgia hijacked a commuter bus with 17 on board, fatally fatally shot a hostage during a wild police chase. Now, what in the actual, you know, insanity are like I didn't have this on my bingo list. I didn't have someone, taking a bus on a joyride, but there you have it. The bus crashed into several cars as it wove in and out of traffic, including a Gwinnett County patrol cruiser, while Georgia State Patrol cruiser pursued. Aerial footage showed the bus barreling down the highway as other panicked drivers tried to get out of the way. At one point, all lanes of the interstate were shut down as officers employed several different tactics to try to stop the bus. I mean, this is probably the Speed remake that we all deserve now, though. In a desperate attempt to stop the bus, the police appeared to try a pit maneuver that was unsuccessful. A pit maneuver on a bus. 11 Alive reported the bus was finally disabled with the use of spike strips, cops said. It came to stop roughly 20 miles away in Tucker off Hugh Howell Road between Deer Ridge Drive and Rosser Road. Passengers could be seen exiting the bus with their hands in the air. First responders immediately began performing CPR on a victim whom Greer had shot during the mayhem. The victim, who has not been identified, was rushed to a local hospital where they unfortunately died, police said. Greer was taken into custody and charges are pending. Thank you, Zach, for the uh, super chat and people. Very, very funny. Let's see here. Um, Dennis Durham told WSB-TV he was coming out of Gusto on Hugh Howell in Tucker when a car in front of him suddenly went into reverse to try to avoid the bus and slammed into the front of his vehicle. Here comes the bus right in front of us and just knocked through a lot of these cars and made them hit each other, Durham said. I saw so many police cars in so many different areas, my head was swimming. The man told the outlet that his wife was one of the passengers on the bus. Greer appeared to be mentally ill, she said. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens said Greer has 19 prior arrests, including possession of a force multiplier. It's almost like if you had held him on any of these 19 prior arrests. Just what an absolute dumpster fire, and only in Georgia. Let's see here. Sad news for Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut cannot stomach the surprise 2024 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest ban. Joey Chestnut is speaking out publicly for the first time since the Post revealed that the famed hot dog eater was out of this year's 4th of July Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest due to a beef over a hot dog brand he has made a deal with. In a statement on X on Tuesday night, Chestnut said he found out through the media that he would not be competing in the annual Coney Island event, and he was gutted by the news. I think his digestive system, though, is secretly waving like, thank you. Oh, wait. He's a vegan hot dog? Ooh. I mean, I'm already sketch about hot dogs, but in a state or the food fight stems from Chestnut's deal to represent Impossible Foods, which recently launched a vegan hot dog. Ew. Look, I have tried the I like, oh gosh, the old school veggie patties if I have to, but the Impossible meat always looks just not so great. So and it's also more expensive and nah. I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country on the 4th, and I've been training to defend my title, Chestnut Roast on wrote on X. To set the record straight, I do not have a contract with MLE or Nathan's, and they are looking to change the rules from past years as it relates to other partners I can work with. This is apparently the basis on which I am being banned, and it doesn't impact the 4th of July event. Sadly, this decision Nathan and Major League Eating are making will deprive the great fans of the holidays' unusual joy and entertainment, or the holidays' usual joy. Mr. Chestnut, I'm gonna firmly admit that 4th of July, I don't watch you dip hot dogs into water and disgustingly, you know, mush hot dogs into your face hole, but, you know, that is totally cool. I am not vegan, I didn't make that choice, so, I mean, I love bacon a whole lot, but if they're better for you guys, then that's great. It's not for me right now. Chestnut has won the famed Nathan's Hot Dog event, eating 16 times, coming up victorious every year since 2016. He ate 62 hot dogs last year and put down a world record 76 hot dogs in 2021. Yeah, no. Look, when you have to dip your hot dog bun in water, no, no, just yucky. Impossible Foods released its own statement on Tuesday supporting the competitive eater. We love Joey and support him in any contest he chooses. It's okay to experiment with a new dog. Meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener. There you guys. You don't have to choose, which wiener you you pull from. Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, well, from I look, I can't do the mega eating contests. It just looks all disgusting to me, but in some of the contests, I guess they dip the bun in water so they can just mush it all in. I need to see the day after when they are trying to evacuate said 700 pounds of hot dogs, because I can only imagine the look, if I were married to Mr. Joey, he'd have his own restroom, let's just put it that way. I'm not cleaning it, I'm not there, just absolutely not, will not do that. But, it's all in good fun, I guess. I guess he'll go eat a bunch of, vegan hot dogs and they can start their own, you know. In the last story and possibly the craziest title with, international stuff and possible, leopard sighting, Indian police deny presence of a leopard at the PM's swearing in. I mean, God bless a country where it's like, "It's a leopard. It's a something or other. It's not a leopard, we swear." Police in India said the animal spotted in the live broadcast of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ceremony or swearing-in ceremony was not a leopard, despite rumors on social media. Viewers of the live broadcast Monday noticed a large feline walking in the background while Modi Babu Jr. from Sal's channel. Were you there causing shenanigans? Where Modi was sworn in for his third term well, at the minister's residence, where I can't even begin to pronounce that particular name, had some social media users saying it appeared that a leopard had found its way into the building. Rumors ended up being reported on by news media, leading the Delhi police to respond on social media. Some media channels and social media handles are showing an animal image captured during the live telecast of oath-taking ceremony held yesterday, claiming it to be a wild animal. Police wrote, "These facts are not true. The animal captured on camera is a common house cat. Please do not adhere to such frivolous rumors." Honest to goodness, I would say, "Y'all, I have a leopard. I am the" like, I would come out with a leopard because I am just ridiculous. I'd have it, but with a bedazzled bow tie. I would do all the shenanigans if given power, so I would have run with it if I was the prime minister, but, I'm a deeply unserious person with no ties to India, so what are you gonna do? Anyway, those are the stories for this morning. We are sending I am sending you off to, Baker. I will be joining him in a little bit, and hopefully we will continue to try to, you know, get through the disgusting, unprofessional email and chats with that douche nozzle Proctor. I can only say this as yesterday I was stuck in bed, full of pain, watching, Detective Joe Kenda. You can If you have not watched any of his shows, I recommend them highly. He's just this wonderful detective with this very sonorous voice and wry sense of humor. But to imagine that, um, Joe Kenda allowing these kind of shenanigans, this kind of talk, and this kind of culture in his, homicide department, I can't imagine it. And to have to watch that very stoic older man on the final episode, you know, nearly break down because of some of the terrible S he's seen, it's just leaps and bounds away from, and gives oh, I love Joe Kenda's wife too. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do maybe have a tiny crush on the actor that plays him, but, that's neither here nor there. But I will say that I could not see ooh, you're right. I wanna get an elephant though because they have their own names, and I can just pull out a little, recording, call her over, and be like, "Hey, what do we think we should do today? Paint? Awesome. Elephant painting on the White House lawn when I am president." Have a wonderful day, you guys. If you don't follow us over to Baker, have a lovely rest of your day. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And again, if you would like to submit Lord Chippy submissions, please send them on Discord and um, X. And thank you, Captain Kern. I haven't seen your submission yet, but I will look. And don't forget Saturday night, I am finally doing my 3,000 celebration where I will unfortunately try the most unholy flavor ramen noodles on my wheel of woe. So join me at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. It's just mainly a stream to say thank you for you guys for supporting me this year. And I cannot imagine when I started that I would have 3,000 subscribers. Make sure you're still subscribed. YouTube is doing shenanigans things. I am sending you guys off into the unadulterated internet. Be safe, be careful, be kind. Bye, guys.